Hello again, and welcome back to another episode of Adventures in Book Hunting. Uh, Early in the week, I had a medical appointment in Roanoke, Virginia, which is a good 2 hours away. Uh, Dealing with some issues I've had from earlier in the year, and apparently I'm doing fine. Um, haven't heard anything back from that visit, so for those kind of things, good news. No news is good news. But in any event, when I was there talking to my doctor, he realized, you've come a couple hours just to, come for this, follow up. And I said, yeah, I have. And he asked if I had anything to do and that I needed to do in Roanoke before I went back home. And I said, well, nothing I have to do, but there is something I would like to do. And that was to book hunt in an area that I'd never actually done before. Uh, and well, take that back. Now that I think about it, um, my son and grandson used to live in the Roanoke area. They've moved a little closer, in fact, about halfway to us, which is very nice. But they lived in Roanoke for several years. And I actually did go to the public library up the street from their house, bought a couple of books from their sale section, and I did check out one little free library. So I actually have hunted Roanoke before, but not like I got to do earlier in the week. And I knew for a fact that just a couple blocks from where my appointment was is the main branch of the Roanoke Public Library. And I, without exception, I've always had really good experiences hunting Virginia public libraries. Almost all of them have decent sized, sale sections, ongoing sale sections. Even the small, tiny rural ones usually have some books for sale. Um, Today I was the other day I was a little disappointed. Apparently, the main branch of the Roanoke Library didn't want to bother with it anymore. It was too much trouble for them to maintain, so they don't do it anymore. And anyway, so I was a little disappointed in the Roanoke Public Library system. However, to be fair, the facility of the Roanoke Public Library is an awesome facility. They have a really nice looking collection, looks very extensive, lots of facilities for public use, computers, meeting rooms, the whole what you'd expect for a good public library. They just don't sell books. Um, However, I also got to stop at a local Goodwill, and I stumbled over a little free library and a small charity-based thrift store, and I did get a few books. Um, let's start. Um, Start with the dud, and that is the Roanoke Public Library. They did have a section of books they were giving away, and I found one that I wasn't going to pass up. If you folks who know me and have followed me for a while, would realize it. No, I'm not going to turn down a penguin in really nice condition. And this one is The Conference of the Birds. I won't even attempt to pronounce the poet's name. But these are allegorical poems, um, basically teaching lessons of Islamic Sufi wisdom uh, through animal stories. I've read some of them. It's interesting stuff. Uh, and in fact, I already have this very book, but as you can see, this one is in really good shape. So this is probably going to be an upgrade for me, and I will donate my other copy. But yeah, like I said, if I find a penguin in this kind of shape, even if I don't need it, I know places where I can donate it. So definitely keep her. So it wasn't a complete loss. From there, though, I knew there was a Goodwill close by. That was the next place I went. Uh, and then, as I said, a charity bookshop. And I've kind of got the books that I hunted in this little excursion kind of mixed up. I'll try to remember where I got them all. The next two I got at that charity thrift shop, and they were a couple of Dover thrifts. These tiny little books. And I've got quite a few. In fact, right there, I've got a stack. And I usually use the little Dover thrifts as placeholders until I get a penguin or a cygnet. But No, but these are nice and they'll keep for a while. The first I've got a collection of Samuel Coleridge poems, and it has the poems I want. Of course, as you can see on the cover, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, but it also has Kubla Khan. I remember that. It had Kubla Khan and some of the other ones I was very interested in having. Let's look at the table of contents. Note. Yes, here we go. It also has The Dungeon, which is a poem I liked, and The Knight's Tomb, plus also some essays and commentary. He has commentary about William Wordsworth and John Donne's poetry. In any event, I'm probably going to sit down and read most of this very soon. The other is a collection of Nathaniel Hawthorne stories. It has, I believe, it has one story from Twice Told Tales. I believe it's Dr. Heidegger's Experiment and some other stories. Yes, glad to have that one and keep it. I don't know if it's duplicated in the rest of my collection. I know I've got a full copy of Twice Told Tales, I believe in a Bantam Classic. But I know 2/3 of the stuff in here I don't have, so I'm going to keep it at least for a little while. Let's see what's next. Okay, next three books I did get at the Goodwill down there. I got a movie tie-in copy of Gone Girl. And people still follow this and buy it. And this was a real nice copy, even if it is, as you can see, a movie tie-in. I'll be donating this one. Gillian Flynn still sells. And if you follow the Hatter Bookshop in Princeton, particularly on their Facebook page, I hope to see this one in a Facebook post very soon. Every week they have a Facebook post where they show you the more interesting books they've got in, either through trades, donations from yours truly, and apparently, well, they have thousands of followers on Facebook. It's a really great marketing tool. Folks say, "I want that," and immediately comment and say, "Please hold that for me." So it's, like I say, it's a really good idea for the store. The next two I'm going to keep, at least for a bit. Found another penguin. Voltaire's Candide. And this is the same edition that I read when I was compelled to read Candide in college, and was glad for the experience. If you've never experienced it, it's a lot of fun. It's great satire, great social critique, great, religious critique actually, but a very fun book. Very slim book. You could knock it out in one sitting if you've got your reading muscles back. And I am certain it is in better shape than Voltaire that I've already got. I can't remember if I've got that in Signet or Penguin, but certainly if I don't have it in Penguin, this is a keep. And speaking of Signets, I got this, which is in fair condition, but it's The Adventures of Robin Hood and His Merry Men, the Howard Pyle version of the stories. Read this probably in junior high school, which for you modern kids means like 7th or 8th grade. And I do really like that cover. There's a lot of color there. Robin and some of the merry men, that are about to ambush, I'm sure, the sheriff or Guy Gisborne's troops. But no, don't have this. This is definitely a keeper. Don't have that in any edition. All right, next. The next three books I'm going to show you, I also believe I got at Goodwill. A first edition, first printing of Jeanette Wall's Half Broke Horses. Most people who know her from her own memoir, Glass Castle, and Where I Live. She's somewhat controversial, let's say. Third of the book is about the years her family lived in Welch, West Virginia, and of course I have my own very strong connections to Welch, West Virginia. But yeah, controversial figure. Some people appreciate that she's kind of brought some notice and notoriety to the town of Welch, In fact, I can tell you this, having worked in Welch for a couple of decades, not too long ago, uh, tourists who come to Welch want to see one of two things, if not both. The first, they want to see where Sid Hatfield and Ed Chambers were gunned down by the Baldwin Phelps detectives on the courthouse steps. And second, if not equal, they want to see the house where Jeanette Walls lived when they lived in Welch. Um, and then they get kind of disappointed when they find out that house was torn down, quite a while ago. But in any event, this is Jeanette Wall's memoir or quasi biographical story about her maternal grandmother, Lily, who I believe lived in Arizona. I've not read this one, followed it a few times. This one I will donate to the Hatter. Yeah, first edition, first printing, so it's pretty nice. The next one is, well, new. Well, it's a new book. Harper Lee's, let's see, The Land of Sweet Forever, which is a collection of short stories, essays, those sort of things. Let me get that. Yeah. In fact, I don't feel bad at all about calling it a new book. It was just published last year, 2025. And this one I checked is a first edition, first printing. And in fact, I went through my local Books A Million, saw it sitting on the new arrivals table right up front, and noted that and thought, well, let's see, they're asking potentially at least $30 for this book. Who knows, by the time you get to the cash register, you're not a big fan of Books A Million, and so, but here's why I found myself in a Books A Million. I was trying to find the current issue of West Virginia Living magazine, so I'm probably going to have to order it because they did not have it. But that's the only reason I went into Books A Million. I don't shop at Books A Million anymore. They have unethical business practices, but it's kind of like dealing with Walmart. If you're in a rural community, you don't have a lot of choices if you want to go to a newsstand. And Books A Million is the only place within 40 miles in any direction I know that, has a traditional newsstand, magazines, and newspapers. And I was unsuccessful. So I walked out with nothing. But in any event, the next one I also got at the Roanoke Goodwill, a Star Wars book, Star Wars, the Clone Wars, Wild Space. Yeah, Wild Space. I still pick up anything Star Wars related. It's still popular, particularly this kind of stuff. Even the fans who are kind of turned off by the newer Disney-oriented material, they when they were kids, a generation back from me, when they were kids, they watched the Clone Wars animated series, growing up and loved it and would love to have more of it. And this, of course, is a nice tie-in for that. So I'm sure it won't last long. It's going to go to the Hatter. Let's see. Next, my favorite book of this hunt. I got myself, and this will be a book I keep. I got a fairly decent copy. It's, as you can see, it's been read, it's been used, but a copy of Kenneth Graham's *The Wind in the Willows*, and there's a nice illustration of a couple of the inhabitants. And I've been looking for something like this for a long, long time. I know over on a shelf where I keep my children's books, I have a copy of *Wind in the Willows*, which I will now pull and donate, because I've been looking for one with an uncensored, unedited chapter. Let me find it. And I did not realize this until just in the last 2 or 3 years, that most of the editions of *Wind in the Willows*, particularly those marketed for children, specifically, I know it's a children's book, it's marketed to children, but the ones that look like kids' books, okay, they will either not have or severely edit this chapter. And that chapter is chapter 7, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. And well, actually, I'm too young to really get the musical reference to it, but that is also the title that Pink Floyd gave to their debut album, which came out the year I was born. Um, but anyway, this chapter has, since the publishing of the book almost 120 years ago, remained very controversial. I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say it's probably the darkest section of the book. Um, Very tense. Some might even say to the point of almost having horror type elements, but also pagan elements. The Greek god Pan is featured prominently in this chapter, and for those reasons, it's like I say, it's been somewhat controversial um, for for a lot of the book's history. The thought being that that particular chapter is too intense for kids. Certainly not too intense for me, and I'm glad to have once again an uncensored, un unexpurgated, I guess that's the word, copy of Wind in the Willows. Like I say, I'll be glad to keep that one for myself. Next, I did stumble over a Little Free Library, and oftentimes Little Free Libraries are low reward places to hunt. I found some extraordinary things in Little Free Libraries, but this one was kind of neat. I got Inkheart by uh, Cornelia. I don't know how to say her name. I'm going to pronounce it if it's a German. Funka? Don't know if that's even close. But anyway, it's a fairly popular book. This is a Scholastic edition. And the actually, ooh, that sticker will come off. Sticker on there, it says soon to be a major motion picture. I don't know if it ever was actually a major motion picture. I'm thinking it might have been. But anyway, that one's going to go to the Hatter. I'm going to donate that one. All right, let's see where you go next. Now, like I said, pretty decent book to find in a Little Free Library. And of course, I'm an ethical book hunter, so I always carry around. Um, well, right now I've got a box full of books to donate, either library donations, or mostly Little Free Libraries. Got plenty of those, so I did the right thing. I put 2 or 3 books in that I didn't want, store didn't need, but we're still fairly decent books. Always try and leave more than you got, more than you took. Anyway, but I did find that, and I was glad to find it. Next book, I'm believing this came from the thrift store, the private thrift store that I saw. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this cover. It's a nice edition, but it's just kind of there. There's not a whole lot to this one. But it's in good shape. It's going to be a donate to the store, so I hope to see it on a Facebook post soon. The next one's also going to be a donate to the store. This one, I'm pretty sure I got at the Goodwill, and it is another movie tie-in of The Hobbit. There's Bilbo stepping out onto that road that goes ever on and on, about to get into an adventure and be late for supper. But no, very, fairly nice condition, as you can see. And, I'm not a huge fan of the movie tie-ins, although I have to admit, over in my Tolkien section, my set of Lord of the Rings are tie-ins from the films. But no, very nice book, coming soon to the Hatter. And once again, a reminder, everything in this video that I said I'm going to donate to the Hatter, I probably won't be getting to the Hatter until, the middle of next week. And, please give them a few days after that, because they will want to make sure everything's clean, sanitized, stickers removed, gum removed, because stickers leave that awful gum that lasts forever, indestructible. So once again, give the store about a week and a half. If anything that I've said I'm going to donate, give them about a week and a half to have it processed, stocked, priced, all that before going to look for it. Okay. This one I'm going to probably keep for a while, at least until I figure out what I've already got. That is a Barnes& and Noble Classic Edition of Ward 6 and Other Stories by Anton Chekhov. Now, I know I've got quite a bit of Chekhov. I've got Signet and I think Penguin, mostly of his plays. Uh, I'm not sure how much of his prose I have. That's why I'm gonna at least keep it for a while. Um, if it's got a lot of material that I don't already have, I will keep it. If it if it largely duplicates stuff I've already got, I may swap out. But I'm gonna make that decision very soon. I'm doing weird things with lighting here. Anyway, uh, read quite a few of the plays. Um, actually, I believe saw a Chekhov play when I was in college, and also saw a traveling theater company do a series of small Chekhov vignettes. Uh, it's pretty good. Oh, and he's got a literary term named after him. If you haven't heard of Chekhov's gun, it's the idea that if you read something in a book, in fact, he has I'm not precisely sure how the thing came about, but he has a story where there's a gun on the table early in the story, and the gun has to have, because it's mentioned, the gun has to play a part in the plot of the story, otherwise it wouldn't be there. And so if you're reading a story or a book and there's something that's just there for no seeming reason to the plot that's going on at the time, it's a Chekhov's gun. Eventually it's going to come into play. All right. And the remainder, I think, all came from the private thrift shop. And they're 3 oversized books. First one here I got is the Downton Abbey Official Film Companion. And it's quite a heft. Yeah, nice movie still. Even a few more on the back. And in really, really good condition. I haven't, oh yeah. Yeah, really good photography. But I'm just looking real quick to see about edition. And they've hidden it. There's contents. Ah, it's on the back, of course. It's an American edition. Let's see when this was published, because the film wasn't out that long ago. Or maybe it was. 2019? Has it been that long? It seems like the show was still going back in 2019. Anyway, a lot of Downton Abbey fans. This is a donation, and I would imagine it's not going to last very long. I know I hunted once upon a time a similar book for the television series, a companion guide to that, and I know it didn't last long. It was sold pretty quickly. All right, 2 more books, and these are both children's books. Uh, okay, the first, a pretty nice edition of Happy Birthday to You by Dr. Seuss. I say it's in real nice condition. It's going to be a donate to the store. Yeah, those of you who know me well, know that I do like Seuss. I've got 3. Traditionally, I started off with this one, then added this one, and then here just a couple weeks ago, I got this one. And most of the Seuss I donate, most of the Seuss I get, I donate to the store. These I'm keeping. Actually, I bought that one from the store. But I did early on in this channel, I did a dedicated video about this book, If I Ran the Zoo. These 3 books have something in common. These are both depublished by the Tolkien estate. The Seuss estate. I got Tolkien on my mind from The Hobbit. These books and 3 other books are no longer published at by the authorization of Dr. Seuss's estate. Of course, he passed away several years ago. Because of problematic content, generally racial, what's called racial insensitivity. But these are all great books. The other three I'm not as familiar with, but I had read all three of these before they went on the do not publish list. Um, and they all have something in common. They're all flights of fancy. They're all, in fact, in each case, a young boy, just with having a wild flight of imagination. Uh, and I think I saw it on Mulberry Street. Boy's got to go to the store. And on the way there and on the way back, just through his imagination, thinks of all the fantastical things that he'd like to see or, thinks he saw, on Mulberry Street. And then when he gets back, what did you see on Mulberry Street? Ah, nothing, basically. And from what I understand, it got depublished for one illustration and one line in this book. And actually, I was in the store very recently. They got a donation with a copy of "To Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street," and the offensive page had been removed. So maybe it's even worse than just making a decision. We're not going to publish it anymore. Fine, it's their book. They don't want to publish it. That's fine. But it's like a lot of the soft censorship that I really, really despise. Um, if you own the rights to a book and you don't want to publish it, that's your business. But I would almost rather have them banned than creatively edited for content. And apparently that's happened at least with this one. Oh, and of course, yeah, just got this one. This one's great. McGilligott's Pool. If you get a chance, please read any of these. But anyway, off my soapbox. Enough complaining about censorship and the foolishness of the world. All right. And finally, the very last book that I got, also at the thrift store, and that is a very, very nice copy of Eloise by Kay Thompson. Story of the 6-year-old girl who lives in the plaza. And there's Eloise getting into mischief. And there's Eloise striking a pose. Very much reminds me of my two younger granddaughters. They both got a little bit of Eloise in them, but that's good. Anyway, that's the last of them. I couldn't get my granddaughter interested in it, so I'm most likely going to donate this one as well as the Seuss to the store. This will not last long. Everybody loves Eloise. All right, I believe that's all. Oh, and I think I'm coming in under half an hour. And that was not a big haul. Anyway, but I appreciate if you stuck around to the end. Once again, remember, give the ones I'm donating, give the store a little bit of time. It will not be there today or tomorrow, but next week I'm sure I'll get those to them, and they'll have them ready for you very soon. And like I say, I appreciate you coming along. I wish I'd had more time to hunt Roanoke a little more thoroughly because I really didn't, my appointment was midday and I wanted to be back home, at a decent hour. So I didn't do as deep a dive as I would have liked. I'm sure Roanoke has lots and lots of good spots to hunt that, I just didn't have time to get to. But I probably will be going back again for a follow-up every once in a while. So I'm looking forward to hunting Roanoke again. Until then, as always, be safe, and I hope you could have good buck hunting as well. Thank you.